Hi, my name is Mike Martuzza, and I'm a franchise consultant. I have worked in the franchise industry for over 20 years as the owner of a master franchise, as a franchisee, and as a franchise broker. My goal in doing that is to help you understand if franchising is a good fit for you, and also, if so, to find a franchise that's a great fit for your goals, skills, budget, and expectations. Today I want to talk to you about what a franchise is. Many people know a franchise when they see one, but they don't know what a franchise really is or what it's trying to accomplish. A franchise is essentially just a model for expansion for that particular business, or an option for expansion. If you think about two very similar types of businesses, Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. One is a franchise, one is not. Dunkin' Donuts is the franchise, Starbucks is not. And essentially they're all over the country, but they took different paths to get there. For Starbucks, they wanted to own everything. So for every location, they had to go find it. They had to build it out. They had to put the staff in place. They had to have all the health plans and other perks that they're giving their employees. They had to deal with the real estate people. The nice thing with Starbucks is everything they make is all profit. It's their money. But on the bad side, for them to open thousands and thousands of stores, they had to pay for every single store. They paid all the costs outbound, but they make all the money inbound. For them, that works. Dunkin' Donuts, on the other hand, embraces the franchise model. Dunkin' has a much smaller corporate staff than Starbucks does, because essentially what Dunkin's doing is they are offering a franchisee an opportunity to build and grow a business using that name. So Dunkin', for all of their locations, they don't want to actually be responsible for finding the sites, buying the properties, finding staffing, and ongoing maintenance and care of these facilities. What they would do is they sell the rights to people to operate a Dunkin' Donuts under a certain set of conditions in exchange for a percentage of ongoing revenue. So they're essentially making 5 or 6 cents on every dollar a Dunkin' location makes. They're not bringing in as much money per location as a Starbucks, who owns 100%. But of course, they did not have anywhere near the cost that Starbucks had to find and build the locations, nor run the locations ongoing. Let me step back for a second. Let's just talk about sort of how big the franchise industry is. Franchising makes up about 10% of the total businesses in the United States, and ultimately somewhere between 10 and 15% of people work for franchise businesses as well. It's a very established business model in the United States. It's been going strong for many decades, and it will continue to grow as more and more people decide they don't want to go into an office every day. They don't want to work for somebody else. They don't want to commute. Franchising provides a great option because essentially the franchise is helping you learn the business, run the business, and support the business ongoing. So it's like you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So when I say 10%, I understand that it may not resonate with everybody as to how large that actually is. I mean, we're talking about 3,000 franchised companies in the United States today who have around 750,000 franchised locations just in the United States. So it's a really massive slice of the United States economy. So almost any business that you can conceive of where the systems can be taught to somebody else can be franchised. There are very few people who do not fit into the industry with one opportunity or another. When I start talking to an individual about franchise opportunities, I try and lay the franchise opportunities out on a continuum. And the continuum starts, and we use 1 to 10, but 1 and 10, 1's no better than 10, 10's no better than 1. They're just different. So at a 1, we have sort of single transaction retail businesses. People come in, they buy something, they probably know what they want to buy or have a pretty good idea. There's not a lot of sales involved. So they come in, you exchange goods or services for money, and out you go. And you may or may not ever see them again. Examples of this are food businesses. Think about the hamburger, think about the pizza, think about the donuts. Those are single transactions. A little bit further up the scale, you'll have what I'll call storefront businesses. Now these tend to be businesses that you'll see in shopping centers near the Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or things like that. But they'll be offering sets of services that are usually membership based. So people come in, they try it out. The person behind the desk will try and sell them a membership. Examples of this are fitness franchises, massage and spa franchises, and many other things where services are provided to you, but not just on a single transaction, They're looking to have repeat businesses. Essentially, they want you coming back either daily or weekly or monthly, because not only do you use your membership, you also tend to buy things while you're in there. If you're in a gym, you might buy workout apparel. If you're in a spa, you might buy additional therapies while you're there. It's all a matter of a little bit more complexity to the sales model, because you will want, as a franchisee in one of these storefront franchises, you will want somebody at the desk that can make a very convincing argument why the person would benefit from buying a membership. In a retail franchise, sales is very simple. It's all marketing. In a storefront retail franchise, membership-based, most of the activity being driven to your location is going to be through social media. And people are going to see the social media, they'll call up, they'll ask questions, they'll want more information before they come in or before they purchase a service. As you move into business to business, you're getting away from social media, because the businesses, when they need a service, are tending not to look at the internet to find a solution for the service. These are much more relationship driven. They would rather give their business to somebody that they know and they trust, rather than just to look on the internet for somebody. Not something that I work with, but you can think about if you're running a business and you need insurance. If you know somebody already who does business insurance, or you know somebody who knows somebody, you're much more likely to work with that person than you are just picking somebody off the internet. So as an owner of a business-to-business franchise, it becomes more about you and the relationships that you can develop with potential customers or people who might know customers. Along this continuum is business services. In the business services marketplace, a couple of examples are franchises that provide roll-off dumpsters to other businesses. This is primarily a kind of a low-level networking business. You need to be out and about. You need to have people know who you are, what you do, and how you do it. And it's not overly sales-oriented. It is people getting to know you, getting to trust you, and finding people who have a need for what you're providing. Higher up on this spectrum are what I'll call their sales-intensive business services, where almost every client that you get or potential client is going to be somebody you're going to meet through networking. There may be some business-to-business cold calling involved, but it's going to be a lot about getting out into chambers of commerce and other business networking environments and talking to people about what you do, learning about what they do, and making a case for why your business, how your business can help their business. And examples of this are sales training, business coaching, and mentoring. As you see this spectrum, again, we're going from 1 to 10, 1 being no better than 10 and vice versa. But essentially what you're doing is you're going from the business being about the brand name, be it a hamburger chain or a pizza chain or a massage or spa, to being more about the individual running the business, because you're getting your customers different ways. Your customers are essentially different. In the first two, you're dealing with consumers primarily. At the upper part of this continuum, you're dealing mostly with businesses. And so having the personal connection is very important. So as you move along the continuum, the sales from a franchisee perspective becomes more intense at every step. You're going from no sales to very consultative, easy sales, to a little bit more networking, to heavy networking. And the one thing that you do not want to do when you buy a business is do not overestimate your ability to do sales yourself on day one. If you are uncomfortable with the sales role in that business on the first day, there is a really good chance you will never be comfortable with it. And it can lead to not so great consequences. And on the other hand, if you're an extrovert, you love getting out there, you love meeting people, talking to people about things, learning about them, and ultimately selling, it might drive you crazy if you are running a hamburger stand or a hamburger business or even a spa, because quite frankly, you're going to be bored. You'll be frustrated. You'll be looking for ways to make things better when essentially you can't. As I've laid out this continuum, realize that we have 3,000 different franchise companies stretched across this continuum. And you're going to feel comfortable somewhere on this continuum. You may not even know where that is as at this point. But that's why it's important to work with a franchise broker or a franchise consultant. We've been doing this for years. We've been involved in franchising for years. The franchises we work with, we understand the types of people who are successful in those franchises. And we understand the attributes and characteristics of people who struggle as well. The goal is to help you find a great franchise that's a great fit for you. By doing that, you just maximize your chance for success going forward. Find roles, find situations where you can be successful, and then you can sort of choose among those areas that you'll be successful in, as opposed to finding something you love and hoping that you can morph into somebody who becomes successful in the business. So let me share a quick story with you. I had a gentleman call me, and as an introductory phone call, he said, I'm about to buy this battery franchise. I was able to go visit them. I talked to their existing franchisees. I don't love the business, but I've looked at so many different franchise businesses. I bought these magazines and books that had the top 10 list, the top 50 list, the top 100 list. And this one, even though I really don't like it, it's the best that I found. He goes, I really don't have any expectations, but I really wanted to talk to you before I end up putting out my money for this battery franchise. So essentially, I took him through the process. We talked about goals, skills, budget, expectations, and ultimately I introduced him to 2 or 3 different concepts that I thought might be a good fit, and he resonated with one of them almost right away. And he ended up buying the franchise. In fact, is one of the most successful franchisees in this system, and this is a business-to-business printing franchise. And ultimately, he told me, he goes, I would have found this franchise if I didn't work with you. But it's a perfect fit for me. Essentially, what it boils down to is what a franchise does is it provides you a system that you follow to run the business that tries to eliminate or mitigate as many failure points for a new business owner as possible. The other thing that I'll say about franchises, I'll go back to this continuum from before, is that when you're in a food business, that is a very, very structured system. Everything will have a number of steps to it, and you will never deviate from those steps, ever. Go to our favorite hamburger place, and the hamburgers are built exactly the same way every single time. As you move along the continuum and the business becomes less about the brand and more about you, the individual, you'll be provided with a suite of ideas to obtain customers. And what you need to do, again, this is why it's important to understand where your strengths are, because you have a wider lane to navigate in when you're in a business-oriented franchise than a consumer. The business franchise might provide you with 5 strategies to get clients. You want to pick the ones that you're best at, but you don't have to do all 5. In the hamburger chain, again, you will be doing the same thing day after day after day. So one of the things to think about is how much autonomy do you want in the business? How much do you want it to play to your personality as opposed to the brand? It becomes more and more personality driven as you're moving up the continuum. I really hope that that was helpful. And if any of the information that I provided generated a spark and you'd say, I'd like to know more about a franchise specifically or franchising in general, or whether it's a good fit for you, click on the link below. Schedule a time. Let's talk. My services are totally free to you, as I'm paid by the franchise companies to help them find people that are a great fit for their system. I'm not going to try and sell you a franchise. I'm not going to try to push a specific franchise on you. I want to understand what you're thinking about, why you would want to move out of the situation you're in now and look at franchise. If this sounds like you, click the link below. Let's set up a call. Can't wait to hear from you.